Hello, this is Mark Silver with Heart of Business, and I'm here with Don Ollsin. Don, welcome.
Hi, Mark. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's
Pleasure.
great.
Pleasure.
It's great to have you here. And Don is he teaches. I think it's fair to say plant spirit medicine, herbology, or
Yeah,
herbs.
my wife and I've gotten down calling it spirit medicine now because plants are part of the spirit that we teach, but we teach like the elementals and we teach all aspects of the spirit. So, but plant spirit medicine is where it was, but now we're calling it this year spirit medicine.
Yeah,
Spirit
it's
of rocks, spirit of, yeah, even spirit of people, so.
mm, that's beautiful. And you've been doing it for years. And there's kind of two reasons that I wanted people to hear from you. One is that you have built several successful businesses,
Four of them, yes.
four businesses on herbs and herbology, and plant, spirit medicine. I should using your new term. um, you've been bringing medicine to people in this way, in a beautiful way, and you've been successful in the marketplace in a way that a lot of healers that a lot of healers struggle. And I think that there's some really valuable things that you have to pass on to folks. And I also wanted to highlight um, the work itself, how important the plant world, the spirit world is to the world of the entrepreneur, to healers in general, and to highlight the work that your school is doing. And it's because it's really inspiring to me. And you're an elder, um, and we need elders. There's a lot of people who younger in life doing really fantastic work, but there's something so rich and nourishing learning from someone who's got the years in, who's got the decades in, and the gift of wisdom that can come from that. So welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, 5 decades next year.
Woo!
Yeah,
5 decades.
started in 1969. So 1969, I was working at a vegetarian restaurant in Vancouver called the Golden Lotus Restaurant. And so the Golden Lotus Restaurant was the spawn of two businesses that are still succeeding in Vancouver, and that's Banyan Books and the Nom Cafe. They were both people that were
Wow.
at the Golden Lotus who went out and started both those businesses, and they're still providing service to the community. So that was a
And
very,
supporting your owners. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
That's
yeah, supporting
amazing.
the owners very well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. 1969, that's the year I was 1 year old at that point. So
Yeah.
I just turned 50, and I don't usually feel like a baby talking to somebody, but now I do.
Well,
So
it's nice. My elder teacher, Ellen White, just passed this year in August. It was really painful, but she would have been 94. And what I used to love phoning her, and she'd say, "Yeah, how old are you again?" I'm 71. Oh, you're a youngster. So we all need our elders,
we do,
But
we
I am
do.
now. I am accepting the mantle of elder and the responsibilities that go with that. And like you said, yes, my goal and desire is to pass on to as many people as possible before I do pass from this planet as much knowledge and wisdom as I can, and practical as well as inspiring wisdom, because as you mentioned, it's not a field that it's necessarily easy to support yourself or to support a family. I raised 3 kids, and except for a little stint of a couple of years that's what I've done my whole life. I've not had any other jobs, and I gave up really good jobs. I had a job with the Parks Board in Vancouver. I had to go back and work for nothing in the vegetarian restaurant in the kitchen for 14 hours a day, because that's where my spirit wanted to be. And I gave up air traffic controller. So I could have had really cushy jobs, but no, I chose the path of the heart. It's where my heart was.
Hmm. So tell me, I don't think it's possible to do this completely, but we'll take a stab at it. I'd love to hear, like, what are some of the lessons that you've taken from, four successful businesses? First of all, let's name them. What are like the four successful businesses that you've had?
Well, first of all was the Mother Nature's Inn. So, I mean, again, spirit, you know. So I'm my first marriage, and my wife's pregnant, and I'm unemployed, and so I'm in my room meditating, freaking out, kind of going, okay, spirit, you know, what's going on here? I've got a child coming, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and in come a couple friends and say, come on, we're going to open a restaurant. So, you know, so I guess, you know, there's a certain, I don't think we're, you know, I mean, to be honest, I don't think we're really in total control of what happens in our life. So there's a certain amount of trust and emergence and following life. And so, you know, life and their decisions, choices. Do we say yes or no? I said no to the Parks board, said yes to the restaurant. You know what I mean? So life is a big part of the journey, is making decisions and choices, and then, you know, saying yes to one thing, no to something else. So I think that's, so there was that was a little cafe in the back of a health food store in Vancouver. Then I came over to Victoria and I started a natural food store. And in that natural food store, we actually had quite a dispensary of herbs. Like for 1971 or two, whatever it was, we had a fairly substantial number of herbs and herbal medicines. But our primary focus was herbs. Was food, natural foods. So I ran that for about 3 years, and then the herbs were really calling me strongly. So in 1976, I opened Self Heal Herbs in Victoria, a herbal dispensary, and it's still going today. I was just there a couple of days ago. Some of my mentees are working there. It's been sold twice now. I sold it to one person. They recently sold it to somebody else. But you know, this is one of the things, Mark, that I want to get across to people, is like, you could create something that can go on serving without you if you get all your systems in place and you have integrity, but you also have sound business practices. So the return on investment, or you make more money than you spend, and you pay everybody, and so it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a very extraordinary, creative thing to see. I'm very happy with it. I still shop there because it still has good quality herbs.
So what was your journey, you know, because it doesn't sound like you were raised in business. It doesn't sound like business was like the first thing, but you kind of fell into it multiple times. Like, what was your journey like in taking on, you know, healthy business practices?
Well, I was first and foremost a mystic. I just wanted to know God, and whatever God was, but there was something calling me that was beyond the visible form, and I felt really deeply just that sense of mystery, and so I ended up, the Golden Lotus restaurant was also an ashram, so it was like we meditated upstairs and we worked downstairs, and it was all centered around a teacher named Herbal Singh from India, and he was a true mystic. And so in '69 I went there for 6.5 months, and studied directly with him. And you know, people think of Eastern people, sometimes they think of them more like priests or preachers, but realistically, a lot of them are like shamans. You know, like he had a tree growing through his house. When he went into the forest to meditate, the scorpions would line up around him and sit with him. You know, like he was just so deeply connected to all of life, and it was a much more earthy form of spirituality in truth than just a church. So he said, "This is my church, the sky above and the earth below." That's what he'd always say. And we'd be outside listening to a talk, and he said, "This is my church," you know. So that's the spirit part that kept me going. And just a quick aside, the way the herbs came in, because, you know, where'd they come from? The Golden Lotus restaurant had about 20 tins of herbs, like chamomile and peppermint and, you know, red clover, like, you know, and you got to realize in '69, these were all exotic, you know, like these were, you know, people weren't drinking herb teas. And so we served herb teas, and we had a little bookstore, just one bookshelf, and it had a little book called Back to Eden. I still have a copy here. It's one of the only herbals that was available back then, was Back Eden by Jethro Kloss, you know. So then I just, you know, they had a fascination, and to be honest, it's my teacher had said I had to support myself, so I thought, well, you know, I can't go meditate full time and not work, so I have to do something. So let me get into herbs.
So interesting. So why do you think that your teacher said you have, like, why was that part of the message
Well,
for
they
him?
don't believe in living off others.
Mm-hmm.
You support yourself. You don't, you know, it's like you're here. They called it positive mysticism. You don't reject life or move away, but it's positive mysticism. You meditate, you go inside, you have an inner life. But when you're finished your inner life, you go out and serve, and you go out and be part of the community. And I really like that. I love people. I always have. And I mean, they're freaking impossible, and they're messy, and just like I am. Like, I'm not saying you are. I mean, we all are. We're all
Right,
we're impossible, but we're wonderful, and we're just, you know,
right, right.
and beautiful, and like you know, it's like, you know, being of service to people is, if it's your calling, it's probably one of your deepest senses of nourishment. You
Yeah.
really can truly serve somebody with your gifts,
Hmm.
what you've been given, and you see it transmitted, and you see them get it, and you see them light up. It's just payback time for all the teachers that did that for you. And so you
It's so
kind of go,
it's so
yeah,
true. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful because I mean, it's the same message in my Sufi lineage is that, you know, you're required to have an honest living. You're required to, you know, care for yourself and take care of yourself in the world for very similar reason.